A video has recently circulating all over social media that shows the owner of True Kitchen Cocktails in Dallas addressing several customers after they began dancing and twerking on the restaurant table. According to the owner, he asked them to stop, but the guests continued and were later asked to leave. Many chimed in with their opinion on whether or not the owner was wrong for talking to the entire restaurant the way that he did. He later apologized for the way his message was delivered, but ended up standing firm on his stance.
All this twerking, take it to Prime, take it to Pink, don't bring it here because we're a restaurant. And so beyond that, 75% of my customers are ladies. And I'm on men to show respect for themselves for how they carry themselves here. So how can I tell the men to respect themselves and you guys are twerking on glass here? If you want to do it, get to our restaurant. Because I did it for our people and I did it for our culture.
In the studio, we have our comedy hype analysts, Rita, Brent, Capone, and Pierre, to talk about whether or not he was right in his approach. Now, as I mentioned, since then, the owner has been speaking out with interviews as well as posts, and here's one of the interviews of what he had to say.
You know, it seems like you have a particular problem with twerking.
Well, let me explain. First of all, I don't have a particular problem with twerking. At our restaurant, you're always going to hear music because we want to make sure that it's a constant positive vibe for our guests. We don't want guests standing up in their seats, grabbing glass and twerking on glass. You know, for those who like twerking, we don't have a problem with it. There's lots of nightclubs people do it at. They do it in their home. Our restaurant is one where my mother eats at, my grandmother eats there. My sons work there, and we want to make sure we keep a good environment. And so I'm not here to make any indictment on people who twerk because it gives people a good time, but that's just not something that I can have in my restaurant.
And before this, he posted on the True Kitchen Cocktails Instagram saying, "While I would like to apologize to the patrons who are offended by my poor choice of wording, when the first incidents occurred when the guests were politely asked to stop and have respect for themselves and other customers, the guests at issue were at 3 tables. As the video shows, you will see guests spoken to politely and literally begged to stop standing on our furniture and twerking. A customer stood on her seat, placed her hands against the glass windows, and began to twerk. My immediate reaction was this woman could fall through the window and we could be the target of a lawsuit if she is injured. My second reaction was enough is enough. After already addressing this behavior twice, these customers no longer deserve the courtesy of my kindness I expressed in earlier encounters, as it was met with disrespect and intentionally ignored. This is why they were told to leave. As usual, 97% of our guests yesterday were fantastic. This is an indictment on the very few who don't respect our restaurant." A lot, I know. But what are our thoughts? And Pierre, I want to start with you.
Let me talk about the TMZ thing first. What's his name? Henry? What's that white dude's name? Whatever. The white guy that runs TMZ. He was trying to bait it into being something different. You know, you don't think it's classy, but you're trying to say twerking is not a classy thing, it's not a black thing. He was trying to make it into something that really wasn't what it was about, okay? So I didn't appreciate that. That gentleman who owns that club has a right to say how he wants his club to be ran. That's point blank. You know, he's the one runs restaurant. Club, whatever you have a right to say how you want it run. And to say twerking is not classy. Okay, well, you know, you wouldn't want my twerking in church, would you? You know, for some reason that would be the proper place if someone was twerking in church. There's certain things that could be black culture don't belong everywhere. Dominoes, playing bones. You wouldn't want to be bones done in the middle of the church. So he has every right to say, I don't want it being done here in my establishment. It's the thing now. Let's go to the thing I think is really his tone of voice. Well, I mean, how many times you got to tell somebody something sweetly, nicely? I mean, if I tell you the first time, I don't want you to do that in my restaurant or my club, whatever it is, and I walk away and you come in, you're doing that, you don't want to put the onus on the other person. They disrespecting me now? I'm the one that still be nice all the way through the situation every time you do something? No, it's a point where if I ask you something in my establishment, I control this establishment, I don't want you to do that anymore. Don't do it. If you say, damn you, I'm going to still do it, then whatever.
Rita, what are your thoughts?
You know, it's not about twerking for me. It's about etiquette and it's about discretion. I have a little story. A couple weeks ago, me and my wife went to Slutty Vegan in Atlanta. When we rolled up, they were playing hype music. They had a hype woman. Now keep in mind, my wife is an excellent twerker. And I saw it in her eyes. Her eyes said, baby, this is my shit, I want to twerk. But her mind said, we standing in line for a burger. Is it appropriate for me to twerk in line waiting on a burger? And so to me, it's about discretion and etiquette. What he's gonna have to do is add some little bullet points to his little sign on the outside, no white tees and no twerking over the lamb chops. Like, you're gonna have to put that shit on the sign, on the outside. But to me, this is not about twerking. And he said that he's gonna change the music, but you know, this idea that he's attacking black women, I think that's a distraction as well, so.
Capone, what about you?
I gotta agree with both of them. if it's my establishment, and he said it a couple of times. I don't think I would have been that nice the couple of times. I would have said it on the first time. If you standing on my furniture and you just totally, I ain't even thinking about the customers at this point. Get the hell out of my restaurant. It ain't got nothing to do with black or any other color or whoever they think they're attacking. It's strictly disrespect. That's it. Kids are in there eating, and you got, just because the music make you feel a certain way, you feel like you can stand on the couch?
And what about the other customers? Like,
Yeah.
It's like I'm so overtaken. I'm just going to disregard everybody else's experience, and it's about me. I feel like I need to shake my ass right now on this glass, and I'm going to do it no matter how it makes anybody else in the restaurant feel.
If I was married, could I kiss my wife and grope her in front of everybody, slob her down, just start courting?
It depends on the music.
Oh, yeah, right.
If it's R. Kelly music, yes.
Right, I can slob her down in front of everybody.
So I want to bring in Lala and Key from Poppin' After 30 podcast. They posted social media the video and stated, another example of black women showing black men support and getting shitted on. I really hope y'all shut his business down since he don't need the money. So I did want to bring them in just to get their stance, because I think it's important to always see
Y'all
another
want
side.
problems,
So
huh?
first, Lala and Key, thank you so much for joining us on the Comedy Hype News Show. How are y'all doing?
We're good. How's everybody?
Good. We're good. So we wanted to get your stance. I know you've been listening a little bit. After hearing, everyone's opinions as well as knowing what yours is, what is your stance?
I think our stance is we are always going to represent Black women. That's what our podcast is about. That's what we're about. So to see a man who is a business owner, a Black man, speaking down on a group of Black people and then saying that 75% of his business is Black women, and if you don't like it, you can get the out. Disrespectful. You could hear in the video the reactions of those women, like, wow, and my thing is, if the video was just on the twerking itself, it probably wouldn't have went viral. What made it viral was the speech. That's what made it viral, and that's where the focus was. He was disrespectful, period. But yes, we agreed, like the twerking, right? Like the twerking was wrong on the furniture, but did you have to take it to that length to cuss out a room full of Black people?
Right. I think two things. Number one, I will say I've been in establishments. We're in Atlanta. Twerking is a thing in Atlanta, okay?
In a restaurant.
Brunch gets lit. And for me, it would have been how hype was the crowd? How hype was the music? We don't condone people standing on furniture and ruining someone's establishment. So that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the fact that these girls were twerking. They were asked to stop twerking. Fine, they didn't stop. But for you to then take it further, stop the music, address the crowd, and say that Black people
No, let me tell you something. You can't say fine. You can't say you disrespect my place. Fine. Now you can't talk to me. The fine is the problem. You can't disrespect my place first. Did that man disrespect them first? You can't slap me, then I slap you back, and you mad at me slapping you. Like, oh, why you slap me? You slapped me first. Well, that didn't really count because I used to be fine with that. No, that's not right. If she disrespects them, if his establishment, then bam. Now they're saying all gloves are off.
Right.
You can't disrespect
I totally agree with you, Pierre. I mean, who disrespected who first? It was just a select individuals, right? Just two, three people, whoever. But did the entire restaurant disrespect him? Did the girl that was eating her cheese sticks, was she disrespectful to him? She came in and she did what she was supposed to do. I would be at that restaurant and I would be looking like, what the hell if this man just started cursing out a restaurant? Half the people probably didn't even know what was going on.
Based on the owner's response, there were actually, the group of people that were involved were actually located at 3 tables. So it wasn't just one girl. And if there's certain footage that he hasn't put out because he said he didn't want to embarrass anyone. But I think what's also important is if you notice in the clips, yes, it's this one girl twerking, but you have multiple people around that are egging it on. It's pretty much like, pushing for her to continue to do it. So it's not, I don't think it's him just addressing one person. He then has to address, those that are surrounding the incident.
But he addressed the whole room. He said, if y'all don't like this, so if you're down with it, then you get the hell out too. Now, if you're a person in the restaurant and says, I ain't down with that, he ain't talking to you. He's only talking to those who are down with that. So if only 5 tables are down with it, but 40 tables aren't, he's saying, if anybody's down with that, get the hell out of my restaurant. I wouldn't be offended with it because I'm not down with it. So you're not talking to me as the one. Now, if I'm down with it, then you're talking to me. So he's right to talk to people who are doing it. He's talking to the whole room. He can't say, you 3 people, let me talk to you 4 people, 6. No. He says, anybody likes that, you got to go. But I still think.
He could have, though. That's the difference. He could have addressed the group of people. If he got security, those group of people.
He did.
3 times.
He said it 3 times, and they seemed to not listen. So
he said it 3 times to the whole room.
No,
to
the people.
It's on the video.
It's
on the video.
Were out, then he addressed the entire room of people and said, if y'all don't like it, y'all can get the F out too, which is fine and dandy, but at the same time, like, leave it at that group of people. Don't tell me as a Black person trying to support another Black business that I can get the F out too. Like, period. Just address the group of people that were there.
And he said, I don't need your money.
So I want Rita to give her. Rita, what was going to be your response?
Well, 2 things. Who among us can say that we perfectly articulate things when we are heated? So the judgment of him saying the F word, to me, that's a little unfair. And also, this was the 3rd time. The video showed, and I saw the video, there was a group of women twerking over here, and then and all 4 of them stood up and was egging on the woman who was twerking. And then it was a group of women over here. He actually went to them on 2 different occasions before he went from MLK to Malcolm X. So how many strikes do you get? Where's the accountability for the women who disregarded what he said? But I also think maybe he should delegate those duties. Maybe he should get a security guard or a courtesy officer to handle those things.
Now, but let's talk about that at the moment. You can't manage. Now I can see that if y'all wouldn't say that. But at the moment, you do what you do at the moment. It's my business.
Right. But I don't want him to get labeled as an angry Black owner just from this incident.
I don't see that.
So he's going to have to separate.
And I think that's what's important because a lot of people are making this a Black issue. And ladies, I know, that's something that you feel strong. What about this situation as Black women that you feel offended, that you feel this is a direct attack on you?
The situation, from the video, the initial video, all you see is groups of Black women. And me as a Black woman, I know when we go to Black businesses and we support and we turn up, especially living out here in Atlanta. So if you see nothing but Black faces, Black women, this man screaming saying 75% of my business is Black women, you guys need to carry yourselves this way and not do this, not do that in this establishment, directing it towards the people who he already dismissed, they already left. It was already handled. But this was something he felt he needed to generalize. In the age of social media, in the age of protect Black lives, protect Black women, we are here communing in this Black space, and you felt the need to drop the F-bomb on the entire room, on everybody.
It was done in Dallas. It was done in Dallas. It wasn't Atlanta where everybody.
No, I didn't say it was Atlanta. I'm saying we're here in Atlanta.
The experience that we've had. But I will say, in my opinion, I believe it was the way he addressed the entire crowd that made a difference. If you are trying to create an upscale environment for Black people, more power, that's what we need. My difference, my indifference is that he stated that he didn't need the Black dollar. You didn't need us. You can get the F out. We don't need you.
No, he didn't say that.
That's not what he said. He don't need it from those people. From those type of people, he don't need that money from. The rest of the good working Black people who are respectable, he needs that money from them. It's for the ones who act the ass. I don't blame him for that. I don't want that money.
That's his right. I mean, because if it were you guys, after the 3rd time, you have said, you have a live podcast recording and you have folks acting up. After the 3rd time, how do you handle that?
I would tell those individuals to leave and keep the money going, keep the party going. Like, I wouldn't address a room full of paying customers. I had went on the Yelp review because I wanted to see what the people were saying about his restaurant, people who were actually there. And they were saying that the service was incredibly slow. Like, it was all kind of things going on that night that probably led up to him blowing up. And I'm not saying that this Black man is a terrible person. He just had an off night, but what he did was disrespectful, and he apologized for that. But the people who were there were like not even focused on him. They were looking at the girl like, what the hell is she doing? She needs to get down. So everybody shared not everybody, but everybody shared his sentiments, and the people were wrong and they needed to be removed. The problem came in is when he decided to address the room. That's it. That's the only issue that we had. That was it. Why address the room? Just keep the party going. Daquan, keep the music going.
If anything, apologize for
ladies,
that.
Ladies, I'm gonna tell you 2 things gonna happen, ladies. 2 things gonna happen. I promise you, 2 things gonna happen. Ain't no more twerking in that restaurant. I promise you that. That ain't gonna ever happen again. And his business is not going to fail. So he succeeded. Trust me, no matter what y'all say, I promise you, in a year from now, we go to that restaurant's still gonna be going up and down, it'll be going well, and it will not be no twerking. So at the end of the day, case solved.
And honestly, I mean, I do wish him the best for his business, because I think it is important, especially in these times, as Black women and Black men. And Rita, you know, you and I know we are advocates for Black women, but I think it's important not to take an issue where the issue is y'all too, we know, but you know, look, y'all too, but I'm saying, you know, as Black women here, like, we make sure, like, we always, you know, make a stance for Black women. But I think it's important in these instances, let's focus on what the true issue is. If the issue is he reacted wrong, that's okay. But when we then turn it into like, oh, this is a Black man attacking Black women, I hope this Black man's business fails, that's when it becomes a bigger issue. Right.
That's extreme. And they should apologize too, because he has said that he was sorry for the way he acted. They should have some kind of responsibility and accountability as well. And
I hope to see, I hope they come to the forefront in front of social media and let them know, hey, we apologize for our actions, because at the end of the day, like, we're in a culture that's so quick to believe headlines before we even read the story. So many people saw that first clip and reacted. And now we have a conversation that's jeopardizing, that could possibly, which it's not, but it could possibly jeopardize a Black man's business who opened during quarantine, which is difficult. In Dallas, for us to have a place to come to listen to good music.
Us. He did not say, Black women, you are not welcome at my restaurant. He said this is a restaurant for the culture. Yep. If you go on his Facebook page, it ain't nothing but pro-Black stuff. So this idea that he is attacking Black women is unfair.
And then look what happened when the white media got to him. First thing that they do, they try to switch it around to say that he's against twerking. It sounds like you're attacking twerking. He did not do that. And that's how they always try to play us and separate us. And it just seems like we fall victim right into their hands of doing what they want us to do.
Absolutely. Well, we definitely wish you best. Ladies, thank you so much for calling in. Make sure you guys check out Poppin' After 30 podcast.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Thanks for having us.
And for Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson.
Do you know the comedy culture? Play Comedy Hype, the game. Out now.